Thank you for taking a look at this video. This video is about the Euro US dollar lunchtime long system, part 1. So this is a buy-only system. This system is standalone even though it's part 1. It is its own system. It is a buy-only system. You buy the Euro US dollar at 12 noon Eastern Time if it is down at least 45/100ths of 1% since midnight Eastern. And depending on where the Euro US dollar is at, that'll be between 45 and 65 pips for the day, and I'll show you an example in just a minute. And it's a hold the trade for 1 hour, so you enter it at 12, you exit it at 1 p.m. I suggest doing this at Nadex, so you can have an 1 p.m. expiration time, so you don't have to exit it manually. And that's the whole system. So let me show you some examples, but first, before I do, I wanted to let you know that 2016, 17, and 18 combined has won at 68% for this system. So that's 67 wins, 31 losses, or 68%, which is roughly the historical 10-year average for this particular system. It runs winning 2 out of every 3 trades, roughly. Obviously, it's not going to happen win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1. But historically, it has won roughly 2 out of every 3 trades over the last 10 plus years. So let me show you a few examples, how to calculate and all that kind of good stuff. So I like to look at the Nadex charts to find the pricing. That's because I trade at Nadex, so I want to base it off Nadex. I think that's the easiest way to do it. They calculate the time zone for you and the whole thing. So even if you're in Pacific time, everything is based off Eastern time, etc. So what I do is I look at what the midnight price is. So I'm not up at midnight. I take a look at this at 7, 8 in the morning, whatever, and see if there's a potential for a chance for a trade. So again, it has to be down for the day. So this is Thursday, December 13th, 2018, at midnight. What I do is I get an hourly chart. You can do it off a 5-minute chart or whatever. I think it's easier off an hourly chart. And I look at the 2300 candle here. So you can see there on the bottom of the screen, Thursday, 13 December 2300. And I look at the closing price. So you'll see 113.61.4. So that was the price at midnight Eastern time on that particular date. So I usually calculate this on my phone, but I'm not going to do that for this video. So easy way to do it, Google Calculator. I like Google Calculator in this instance because they don't put the commas after every thousandths place. And I just think it's easier to calculate that way for myself. So again, the number was 113.61.4. The way I write it down here in the calculator is 11,361.4. I know the point normally goes over there, but that's a additional digit that Nadex has in there. So it's a 6-digit number instead of just normally a 3 or 5-digit number. So that's what I do. Then I do is times 0.0045. Hit equals, and you have 51.12 pips. I just use those first 2 digits there, and I'll show you why in a second. So it has to be down 51.12 pips from midnight Eastern time in order for me to have a trade at 12 o'clock. And again, these trades only happen at 12 o'clock. So you would not place this trade at 8 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. It's strictly based on the 12 o'clock price. So going back to the calculations here, we have 113.61.4 and 51.12 is what it needs to be below. So what I'm going to do is take that 113.61.4, which is where it was at midnight, and then minus the 51.12. And that will equal 113.10.2. So you can chop off that last digit there. You don't need that last digit. So 113.10.2. So over here on Nadex, you would go over here and so it needs to be below that number. And you will see right here the 11 o'clock a.m. price on Friday. If you look at the close, you'll see it at 112.99.2. So we needed it below 113.10 and change. This is 112.99.2. So it's below that target number by 10 pips. So we have a trade. So we place that trade, and at 12 o'clock we would have placed that trade and held it for an hour. We're not expecting a big move. All we are saying is that it won't fall too much more. And if you look at the next bar here, it finished at 113.01. So it finished up about 2 pips for the hour, which gave us a nice win on binary options. And that's how we trade it. So here's another example. This one was for January 2nd. So we look at the price at midnight, January 1st, 114.45. And if we look all the way down to the 12 o'clock price, so the 11 o'clock price here, you'll see 113.56, which is down basically 90 pips. So with the earlier calculation, we knew we needed to be down roughly 51 pips. So obviously 90 is well within the range of having a trade. So we entered the trade here and did a long trade or a buy trade, and this is what happened. Boom, and it fell hard, and it was a losing trade. I wanted to show you we do have losers as well. It does, historically 1, 2 out of 3, but it means you're going to lose 1 out of 3 historically as well. So, but you can look at those two dates if you want to figure the things out, etc. Now, the way that we trade it is we like to be slightly in the money. So in this particular example, from the 2nd of January, the contract that we actually entered was the 113.54 contract, because at Nadex they do everything for the euro US dollar is in 4 pip increments, as you can see here. 114.02, 114.06, 114.10, etc. So you're never going to get it exactly at the number. So we had the 113.54 contract, and it was a losing trade, so we lost it anyways. But that was slightly in the money, so it was about 2 pips in the money. So what happens there when you do it like that is you're going to end up with a couple of extra wins over the course of a year or two versus the system. So the system itself said, buy it at 113.56.5, and 2 out of 3 times it's going to be above that 113.56.5 number historically. Obviously, I have no idea what will happen in the future, but historically that's what happened. But if we're buying it at 113.54, we're actually 2.5 pips in the money. So on really close trades, we may end up with a winning trade even though the system lost itself. So you don't have a ton of those, but you do get those occasionally, so that's why we do that. I'm willing to risk up to $65 to do a trade. So for example, if today was an entry, it is not, but if today was an entry, the current market is at 113.97. I would be willing to do the 113.94, and I'd be willing to pay $62, $63 for it. I usually go up to $65. Now that sounds strange because the system is historically at 68%. This particular system trades on average about 45 times in a year. I want to make sure that I'm filled on every trade. So that's why I'm willing to risk 65. The next trade, it may not cost me 65. So if this was the trade right now, it's still the 94 contract, but I would be paying $57 for it. So even though I was willing to pay 63 a minute ago, now it's 57. So, and the next trade, I might pay $50 for it. So I did this over the course of 2018, where I'm willing to risk up to $65 for a particular trade. My average, obviously I want to pay 57, but I want to force fill it, make sure that I'm in. My average ended up being $57.97 over the course of a whole year. So even though I paid $65 on a few different trades, that was not my average. So again, same thing, this 94, if this was the trade, it's still the contract to do, and I could have purchased it for 54 a second ago as well. So those things average out. Jump on the webinar sometime, and I can walk you through some of that as well. But that's the way I trade it. And another example right here, we're at 113.98 and change right now. So this would be the contract. The 98 contract would be the one right now, and I can buy it in the money for $51. So so those things will average out over time. But it's a simple system. It's been very profitable over the years. I've traded it for many years. It's one of my favorites, and I hope it becomes one of yours as well. So rewatch the video if you need further instructions, or contact me via Skype or email, and I wish you happy trading. Thanks.